Hey artists and creators, Jstar here, and today I'm going to show you how I made these layered and embossed artist trading cards. So I've laid out some of my supplies and I've just realized that this is a total Dollar Tree craft. I have my cutting knife from the Dollar Tree, cutting board from the Dollar Tree, cards from the Dollar Tree, marker from the Dollar Tree. This ruler came from the Dollar Tree. When we get into sanding, sponge blocks from the Dollar Tree. It's not until we distress that we get into some actual crafting items, I guess. Anyway, so this is how we started. And so I'm using Dollar Tree cards. You get 2 packs, 2 decks for $1.25, a red one and a blue one. I like the red side for this. And basically what you need is, I like an ace on the top for Alice, because we're kind of doing an Alice in Wonderland theme, and then a face card, and then a random card, because this one will be the one in the middle that you actually, it's going to be actually backwards. What was I going to say? I forget. Oh, and these are, they're called jumbo, which means the numbers on the corners are jumbo and the insides are shrunk down and they're in this little frame. And that's actually helpful for us because we're going to cut out these frames and use the frames to help us. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is cut out the ace, and I'm going to try to do this very carefully. All right, did I do it? I have to take my glasses off to see close up. Okay, cool. And these I totally want to save for later. There's something to be done with this, right? Where'd my other ones go? Oh yeah, there they are. These are from my earlier ones. I did mess up my line there a little bit, but it's gonna be okay. Okay, so I've cut the window, and now we're gonna make slats on this, the random card that's in the middle. And I've learned from my mistakes. We're gonna tape this down to start. Okay, and then I'm going to lay the king over here so that I can look for his eye line. And if I put a slat right across there, then his eyes will be revealed. But because the card's going to be reversed, it needs to be like this. So I think that would do it. Okay. So now I'm going to try, there we go. I'll pull the card out and then I'll make my first stripe. Okay. And then I'm just going to make some random stripes, jag them a little bit. Okay, good. I think that's good. And now I'm going to go back with my blade and I'm going to cut on either side of the black stripes just past the blue frame, or the frame of the cards, whatever color it is. Okay, so I've cut on every side, on either side of the black lines. And now I'm just going to cut below this bottom line and above this top line. Now I want to connect or cut all these white spaces. I want to cut from this line to that cut line, from that cut line to that cut line. I'm not going to cut through the black. I want the black to stay there. And for this, I'm going to zoom in. And I got to get in close. Okay, looks like I did it. Let's zoom back out for you. And now, cool. So now that black ink was very, very wet, so I'm just going to wipe that off. I don't want it getting on my king, even though we'll grunge the king. Okay, so now, okay, I moved that a little too low, but that looks cool. The king is looking over that first bar, okay? And you can see if you're not careful the other way, it'll block him. And actually, this was the card I first cut, which obscures the heart and obscures half of his eyes. So I think it's better, like, you just want to make sure you reverse your cut. So, I mean, play around with it. Who knows? They all look cool. I'll show you these two just at the point. So I just got under her eyes, and I just got under his eye there. So I think that is okay. All right. So now we're going to distress. Easy enough. Now, usually when I'm distressing cards, I worry about crinkling them, but actually, if they crinkle or they fold, we might even actually add a crinkle. It can add to the effect. Like, if you look here where this folded, it looks like cracks in the jail cell wall, which I think is totally cool. This one, I had a bit of a fold there, I think, but I could have enhanced it more. So let's just, I'm gonna push the sponge from the center out, always holding the opposite side. Okay, that looks pretty good. Did I say before the A is sort of like A for Alice? Because this is after Alice when she takes over. Okay, so now on the strips, we want to make sure that we don't rip them, okay? So hold down tightly and sand across them, okay? And we're really only worried about those 4 strips. That's the only thing that's going to show. Okay, that was kind of perfect. Yeah, awesome. And what did I tell you? So when I'm trying to make creases, I don't. So let's just make one. And I think like here in the corner is good. Okay, and I'm just going to crease it. Sand it a little bit. Let's do another one. Maybe down here. Crease it. Let me see that. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we'll even. Let's go for rule of 3. You know how I love my 3s. I'm going to put one right here. Actually, let's do it that way, so it doesn't line up with that too much. Still kind of made an X, but okay. So we have that, and then we're gonna sand the king. All right. Now, I don't want to take away too much of his face. I want his face to kind of remain, but I do want to get that the heart sanded so it's sort of tarnished and blemished. And this one we can sand more because it's, you know, the bottom of the card. And we don't necessarily want that face to be, you know, too predominant. Cool. Okay, so we have our 3 layers sanded. And now we're going to distress them. And I'm using Vintage Photo, Tim Holtz Vintage Photo. And for this, I'm going to start in the middle and pull out, okay? And that'll get that frame. That'll give the frame a nice hard, like, edge. And then we'll just brush down. All right. I didn't bring paper towels over. And now, let's see. Well, maybe I can do it right here. I'm going to take some water. And let's see if that's enough. And we're going to just wipe this away. You know, with the oxide inks, they float on top until they dry and they react with water. So I like to use the water to sort of clean it back off. And it gives you that. And you see how those folds like really got enhanced with that. It looks so cool. Okay, so now we're gonna do the same to this. And again, we wanna watch these stripes. So we're gonna go across them to age them. And the slats are the only thing we're gonna see, so we don't really have to worry about anything else. I'm gonna gently touch the tops and gently touch the bottoms. I think that's going to be good enough. Yeah, looks pretty cool. Okay, and then we'll do the king. And again, we only need to age the middle part of the thing. And one thing that I do is I'm going around his face, okay? I want his face to kind of stand out. You're getting a glare today for some reason. I don't know. I guess it's the cards. Anyway, I want his little face to stand out, but I am going to, at the last minute, just mush this brush over it. Okay, I think I got a little too much. So again, I'm going to put water and I'm just going to clean his face off. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so his face kind of stands out from the grunge. And now we have that. So cool, I love this. All right. Now I'm gonna just glue them together. And I'm doing it with Dollar Tree glue stick. So I'm gonna put glue on the back of the front card. And I'm gonna really do this heavily. And just get them lined up good. And I didn't say this earlier, I do want this to be the bottom and that to be the top, just those cracks. Like, I feel like that's a ground crack. And so I want it to be up like that. All right, that's pretty good. And now we're gonna put glue on the back of this. And I'm really laying it on. And now we're gonna put our king in and make sure the right side of the king is facing up. Now you can see where I cut this off, this line a little wonky. That blue line from underneath is showing from the king's little window. I think it's okay. It's not, you know, not a life ender there. So I'm just gonna make sure that's all mashed down nice and tight. And we are good. So now I want to add a little bit of like ivy growing on these jail cell walls. And so I'm going to emboss it. So one thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to really dry this with my heating tool. And I like to dry stuff like this by holding it with one of these. Okay, that feels pretty good. Now, your card will curl a little when you dry, so don't worry about that, because after you can just put it in a book and let it flatten out. I put them inside a book and then weight it, and they get nice and flat. Okay, so we've got that. I just wanted to dry that because that oxide ink can repel the embossing stuff. So I've got an embossing pad, and I have this. I don't know where it came from because I bought a craft haul on Facebook and this was just in it. This is not my normal style, but I like this little branchy thing as an ivy thing. And so we're gonna just, oh, So 2 things on this. So let's start by preparing our workspace better. I've got glue on that side. We don't want that. One thing I like to do before I emboss is take a piece of paper and just pinch the bottom like that, fold it in half and pinch the bottom. And that allows you to scoop up the extra oxide inks. Now for this, I want this to be kind of like an ivy or whatever. I didn't really have a dark green, so I got this glittery green, that's a kiwi, and this, which is aged green enamel. By the way, what's his name? Simon Hurley said to emboss the lids of your embossing powders so you always know what the powder looks like once it's embossed. I think that's such a cool idea. So I went and did that with all of my embossing powders. So I'm going to mix these two, and I mixed some already, but I'm going to need a little bit more. It's funny how long these go. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the brown, or it's actually brown in like a verdigris, and then a little bit of the kiwi. Okay. And then these little guys I just got at the Dollar Tree, and they stack. I'll show you. So I'm just going to dump that in there. Cool. And there's one lid, but then the rest screw into each other so easily, like that. And now I can mix that up. Okay. And so now I have an interesting green for this, the ivy wall things. Okay. So I'm gonna get a little embossing ink, and I think I'm gonna let it cover this A, and actually maybe continue climbing up this wall a bit. And maybe it comes in over here and scoots around like that. And then there's a healthy cluster at the bottom. Okay, so that's on there. And now let's see. Okay, that looks pretty cool, right? Okay, so before I heat emboss, I'm just going to put this away. I don't want to emboss that blob on my paper. Okay, and again, I'm going to hold it with the needle nose pliers. Awesome. And then we have our little ivy growing on the walls. I think that looks so cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then I did forget this. I guess you can do this before or after you do the embossing. We are going to do the edges. Just going to darken those edges, help frame it out. I think all of your artist trading cards should be framed out. Put an edge on them. It just makes it a little better. And this one isn't necessarily art, but it finishes the look. And I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to do a black marker edge. And now I'm always terrible at this, so let's see if I can do it. Okay, so there we have it. We have, after Alice, the King of Hearts is imprisoned. Pretty cool. So I did go back and double emboss this. I just pressed a little harder so that the ink would squish a little more, and I think that looks better. It's more in line with what I had here. So nice thick ivy walls. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I think this is a really fun, easy idea, and most of the supplies came from the Dollar Tree. You probably already have most of the supplies, except for maybe the deck of cards. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. Please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about these projects. From Funkin' Dazzles, I'm Jstar, saying have a great day and keep creating.